Thank you, Clarice. Thanks to all the panel and those who are following our program. I think what I have to say today, I feel ashamed of being African today. Because when we look back to 1960s and our political leader, Nkrumah, Gamal Abdel Nasser, Ben Bella, they fought this pan-Africanism struggle of colonialism and racial domination, and that has all the framework to build a free Africa. And of course, today and even tomorrow and the day and the next in the future, political or pan-Africanism should not be just, I would say, a cultural or sentimental slogan. It should be, and that is most important, should be a political, continental, global project for all Africans. That's what we should do now. And of course, right now, this pan-Africanism should benefit the African people's sovereignty, and of course to shape their destiny, to free them from all forms of exploitation or servitude, slavery, colonial and new colonial dominance. I think what has been achieved until now, it is not really so optimistic, because as Arthur just said, we have so many problems now in Africa, whether in Sudan, in Congo, in Western Sahara, with this decolonization process. But the essence of the political essence of Pan-Africanism is people's movement, and of course we need to share African identity through solidarity, through dignity, through self-determination. And I don't understand why 55 countries which had got the same, I would say, planet, cannot achieve what have been set up or drawn up in the 1960s by the leader of this continent. We have much to blame because of our selfishness, because our short-sighted views, and because also of our fragmentation, and that's what makes Africa even weaker, and an opportunity for outside external power to invade, to exploit our natural resources and so forth. Time has come. We have to review. We have to think again of to build up our new political leadership. Let's make it clear. When I was talking about the future, or what happened, what is the fate has in store for Pan-Africanism in 2025, I felt sorry for our leader who, in the 1960s, were dedicated to build a strong and of course, a positive continent. And when we look back, and now within the last 60 years or so, what has been achieved in the continent of Africa? Of course, I'm not pessimistic, but I would say I would always advocate political realism and realpolitik. Today, of course, we are pleased that African Union, or the Organization of African Unity, has become in 2002 the African Union, and there is some kind of renaissance, I would say even of a reinvention of Africa. And there are so many now mechanisms and institutions like Regional Economic Commission, NEPAD, APRM, and APSA for the security of Africa, architecture in Africa. We have also authority of governance. There are so many, I would say, institutions and bodies which are all of them are dedicated to build up a strong Africa. But when it comes to reality, unfortunately, all these decision, resolution, and I would say infrastructure and superstructure are empty of real competent people. And here I have to blame ourselves for not choosing the right person at the right place. We spoke about there is some kind of what I call a critical crisis of political competence in Africa. We need now to repoliticize the Pan-Africanism in line with what is going on around the world. As already one of our colleagues of panel spoke about the Agenda 2063, the other two projects are very ambitious for the future of the continent. But what we need those leaders in our continent to really believe and recognize that to remove from their mind the spirit of dependence to the West, the spirit of new colonialism. And of course, what we see right now in Western Africa, I would say Western Sahara, with this issue between the fictive issue between Algeria and Morocco. For African, and all of us know that Western Sahara is one of the member of the constitutional act of creation of African Union. And you see, when the USA are intervening, when Western countries are supporting Morocco in its annexation, this what the African can do. We saw already beforehand the reconciliation between Ethiopia and Somalia with the intervention of President of Turkey. What has he to do with this? What is the African Union? So we should, what we speak, we should implement on the ground. And I don't want to look back to what happened in the 1960s. I would like, of course, we have to consider that and all the achievement and the dreams. All that dreams should become today true. And that's why I'm asking for really, I would say, commitment, a strong and practical commitment of African to solve their own problem with for the African solution. It's clear that we have all the facilities, we have all the competences, we have the mineral, I would say, we have the mineral resources, we have critical resources. I don't know why. What is lacking? What is lacking is the political will and the lack of democracy, the lack of governance, the lack of free election, the lack of media freedom. We've seen about few days ago in Tanzania. This is a very bad example of what is going on. Still war is doing its harm in Sudan, in South Sudan, in Democratic Republic of Congo. I think we need right now the spirit of 1960s reborn and ask for a new approach of Pan-Africanism. It's not question of putting aside people here or countries. Now we should unite ourselves for a global vision, and this is the work of course of all African leaders, but principally the work of the African Union and in the world. And I am sorry to say that unfortunately, and I don't want to hurt or to insult anyone, but right now there are some people in this African institution who are lacking political vision and courage. They are just, and I am sorry to say that, they are just a bureaucratic person. And I am talking of those who are in the leadership in the African Union in Addis Ababa. We need the political figure, prominent figure who have the stamina, who have the charisma to influence, to impact the situation, to speak this equally with the president of USA, Donald Trump, the president or the United Nations Secretary, or the European Union, and so forth. We need those people who have the conviction and who have the stamina, but who have also the faith and the esteem and the respect. That's what we are lacking right now. Well, let's just say something to my former, the panel just who spoke. I think Africans deserve deeds, not words. It is not a question of wording and speeches and so forth. That's to make it clear. I think what we need, we have to be realistic when we And of course, we have to be also in line with the reality of today. As I said to you, the political essence of Pan-Africanism in 2025, it's people's movement. And of course, we also of countries of people in the African to share an identity through solidarity, through dignity, through self-determination, because political, I would say, Pan-Africanism today is to maintain a collective dignity, and in order to survive the survive in uncertain world. We live in uncertain world, fragmentation, and the advent of President Trump is removing all these concepts of values of solidarity, of independence. He's opposed to all these forms of gathering within the blocks in the world. And as we have seen about a few days ago, when he tried to interfere in Nigerian business. Can you imagine that? If Africa is not strong enough, if Africa is not standing in one party, one community, one continent, I am sure we will end up before the colonization. I mean, before the colonization, and the fragmentation will be at our doors, and that's why it is so important that instead of just making speeches and this and that, we should work together for how to consolidate. Each country is called to consolidate its own independence, economic, social, political independence. I saw the other day that some countries have brokered a deal with USA to accept the deportation of African illegal immigrants to their country. Is this what Africa deserves after so many years of fight and revolution? I think we deserve to be really consistent, and we have the competency, we have the leadership. All what we need is solidarity, dignity, and self-determination. Thank you very much. Yes, I think we shouldn't. African Union should be decisive in its leadership and in its implementing the slogan "African solution for African problem." It shouldn't be just a slogan; it should be on the ground. I don't understand why African Union has not done enough to stop the war in Sudan, in Libya, in Western Sahara. So I have to put the blame on the lack of strong leadership within the African Union. What the all African Union envoy have done to solve these problems? Why do they let the problem out of hands and give opportunity to foreign countries, to USA, to Turkey and to United Arab Emirates and so forth, to intervene? This should be okay. I'm not against any kind of partnership, but as long as it remains within this term of mutual cooperation and mutual interest. But when it comes to exploiting once more the natural resources of this country, that became a danger for Africa. I think to sum up, African Union and through African Union, African leader, African expert, African civil society should act, should be aware of the future, because we live in uncertainty in the uncertain world, and we have to be united behind one unique approach, which is dictated by the leader, I would say, the African Union leadership in Addis Ababa.
Okay.